While everyone is using AI to code faster, the most successful engineers are actually doing the opposite. They're slowing down to think deeper. In an era of infinite distractions, the one thing AI can't automate is your focus, and that's why it's becoming the most expensive skill on the market. Over the last few years, I've started to notice a bit of a dangerous trend is that us, as software engineers, we're starting to become what is called shallow workers, which basically means we're jumping from task to task, from prompting our AI in our IDE, to answering fast Slack messages, getting back to emails, going to meetings. So that's why I'm breaking down some of the best advice from my latest read, Deep Work by Cal Newport, and why some of those advice we should all follow as software engineers, especially if we want to stay relevant. If you're anything like me, you're doing software engineering, not because you just like coding, but because you like solving real-life problems. And usually that means that you kind of let yourself get distracted by what others need you to do. I know especially when I first started and I was working at a startup as a junior, my main priority was as soon as I got a question on Slack, I was like, okay, I'm switching from my task to absolutely solve this now because that's the most urgent. But the truth is, by doing that, we're actually becoming less efficient. And when you think back on how you learned how to code, usually the first few years of learning the skill, it's a lot of time just you in front of your computer trying to make something work. But actually, in your job, that might not be how you work, and that's a loss. That's why deep work is so relevant, because it's gonna help you learn again how to focus, and then you're going to be able to do like 3-4 hours of deep work and produce a 10x output from what you were previously able to do. So if you're actually trying to stand out instead of being the fastest one to reply, you should start to hand back a little bit and focus on the big tasks that you have to do, and that way you'll produce them in such a higher quality and so much faster that people will actually be very impressed with your work. If you work in software engineering, there's no way the last 2 years you have been using AI to code. And I have nothing against it. I mean, it's such a good tool for productivity and it would make no sense not to use it if you want to keep being competitive. But using AI does change something in how we work. Before, we used to write our code ourselves. Now we have to prompt AI to do it for ourselves mostly. And that means how we think about what we do changed and is not as experimental as it used to be. We would just like write our code, test it, see what happens, what works, what doesn't work, refine it. But now the best engineers, that's not what they're doing. They're actually taking time before prompting anything to think deep about the why, what they're trying to achieve, what are the limits, what is the architecture gonna look like. And for that, you need the ability to focus on those big problems and clearly brainstorm your way through them before you prompt anything, and then actually writing a well thought out plan that you can give to the AI, and that way you'll get a much better result and much faster. But this shift requires like higher cognitive power than before, and that's why deep work is really important to be able to do that well. It also means you should be spending some of your time learning core principles of engineering if you want to guide the AI the right way and also be able to correct what the AI is going to produce if you think it's not the right way to do it. And also because as a knowledge worker, other people are going to come to you for knowledge and not necessarily ask AI, and it would look really unprofessional if anytime someone asks you a complex technical question, you have to type into your AI to get your answer first. You should know these things, but to study those and keep learning all the new technologies that come up, you need deep work. That concept, attention residue, is maybe something you've heard of before, but I think it's especially relevant if you have a typical company job, because we have emails now, we have Slack, Teams, like whatever instant message that your company is using. And that means you can get distracted like every 20 minutes basically. And the funny aspect is that very rarely are all of those questions critical and you don't really need to reply in like the next 20 minutes. But we're so used to the instant messaging that of course we'll interrupt whatever we're doing to answer that small question. But what happens in our brain is that every time we check a notification, so switch our focus even so slightly from one task to another, we're gonna leave a part of our brain on the previous task. And so if you keep jumping tasks slowly, your brain is never gonna have the time to fully get back to one task, and you're gonna have a little bit of your brain power on that task, a little bit of your brain power on this one, and none of your output is going to be high quality output. And I'm actually pretty convinced that maybe at first it's going to take the people around you a little time to adjust to maybe the slowing down of your answers, but they're going to appreciate that the quality is going up, because I mean, it's always more efficient when you have to ask one question and get a full detailed answer that covers all the other questions that could have come up. Otherwise, you're making everyone win time essentially. And maybe that way you're also going to change things within the culture of your company, and people are also going to start to reply slower to others' messages and also take more time to focus. And that's something that can benefit everyone in the company. But the issue with that is that you have to actually close your Teams, Slack or email, because just the notification is distracting enough. If at first you're worried about missing an important message, instead of closing everything, you can close most things and then keep whatever instant message thing with messages off, but people can call you, and then you can tell people that they can call you instead, and that way only for the very important stuff, obviously, and that way you'll only be distracted only for important stuff for that time that you dedicate to deep work. I think that last part was very interesting, to understand that deep work is not just an ability that some people have and some people don't. Obviously, some people is going to be easier for them, but it's actually a muscle. You have to train it to get better at it. So yeah, maybe the first times you try it, it's going to take you an hour to do it right, and maybe then you still get only 45 minutes of deep focus, but that's still already something. And then you do that for a week, and then the next week you go up to an hour and a half, and over time you're probably gonna able to reach the 3-4 hour sessions of deep work. I'm actually sure that if, like me, you studied for a couple of years, you're probably used to be much better at deep work than you are now without even realizing it, which clearly shows that it is a skill that you can practice, and you just need to get back into doing that. And what helps is that honestly, the first few times you do it, you're going to be able to have so much more output than usually, then it's going to be extremely gratifying, and it's only going to make you want to do it more and better. And it's even fun because you might get to experiment which type of ritual you need to get into focus. You can try, I don't know, a specific drink, having a coffee, a specific place where you work, where you get to focus fully to yourself, some specific playlist, all of that kind of little experimentation that you can do around how you get into the deep work. I'm actually challenging you to schedule either today, if you still have the time, or tomorrow, an hour in your calendar that you're going to dedicate to try out this deep work thing, and you're going to see all the value that you get out of it. And actually, to help you with that, I have in the description the link to get to a playbook that gives you 5 ways to start your practice. And I really want to emphasize that in a world of noise and distractions, focus is your only edge. So if you value meaningful work over shallow metrics, I'd offer you to consider subscribing and also to start reading more.